It is Smarter with Stevie, and we are here to talk about YCS Backrooms, also known as YCS Worlds. So we're going to be doing a little deep dive on basically everything Worlds, whether or not it was good, all the highlights, all the downlights. I don't even know where I'm going with this. Let's just go. Here are the general table of contents. We're going to give a competitive breakdown, both in the TCG and Master Duel, regarding decks, players, and of course, the little fucking cockroach, Maxx C, that everybody loves, that is very cool, and is not a headache 24/7. We have the good, we have the bad, and then we're going to talk to a Worlds competitor, one of my friends, Korean.
The classic
who managed to qualify for Worlds in the TCG department, and we're going to get his intake on the whole scenario and some personal viewpoints. So let's get into the decks. It was Dragon Lake. I'm not gonna lie, I hate Dragon Lake. This deck has been around longer than I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! It was without a doubt the best deck in the room in regards for Worlds format. It had an amazing matchup versus everything, especially because there was no cashier or shifter running around, because I think every deck that could be playing shifter was just absolutely terrible. It was just ultimately just an infinitely better Rika. You could play Tearlament, but Tearlament was awful. I mean, you could also play Sprite, but I mean, like, Jet, Blue, and Starter are all at one in the OCG. And like, you could play Rika, but I mean, Rika loses to a single hand trap, and Dragon Lake loses to like 4, as well as the fact that like the only hit was like the Bestials. Like, this deck was basically full power. There was a lot of Labyrinth. I think that Labyrinth was kind of like a troll pick for this event, I'm not gonna lie. The problem is, like, so many cards that made Labyrinth good, people just started either teching around or we just didn't have. One of the big things was actually like Garura, because Garura, I believe, is a TCG exclusive, so it made like Super Poly Labyrinth like way worse. Vanquish Soul, this deck was pretty cool, but again, they're missing so many cards that just make this deck good, both in the OCG, like in Maxx C, but also in the TCG, because they also don't have Fenrir, which is the Earth target that usually just supplement your deck with in order to get Vanquish Soul rolling, and then just like a bunch of other random bullshit. Someone played ABC. Did Calvin Tahan sneak into Japan when no one was looking? Decks for Master Duel. General breakdown? Guess what? A lot of people played Tearlament. But outside of just being, you know, the best combo deck, it was also just one of the best decks at playing through Maxx C. Because if you did Maxx C them pretty early on, they could just go Kit Close, add the Soliac, and then they could just like pass. And then on your turn, like, they would negate something with Soliac, and then they would send the Kit Close, and then Kit Close would mill 5, and then they hit like 4 names, and then it made you want to kill your also, D-Link was pretty good, so that was cool. I think in Joshua Schmidt's team, they played Dragon Link. I think every team played Dragon Link, now that I think about it. So, winner, TCG. Congrats to Paulie Harrison. This is actually the first time an American has ever actually won Worlds. They've had so many second place finishes in 2008, 2010, 2013, and 2016, which is actually the most second place finishes. Also, don't check his Twitter followers. I'm just not gonna ask questions anymore. D-Link is one of the decks that oddly seems to never die. One of the big problems with Dragon Link is that it has so many good cards that unless you want to hit it like with 5 different bans or limits or whatever, like, this deck is just gonna stick around. If you want to ban like the Rocket stuff, they still have all the Bestials. It just has so many moving parts that like I don't really think that there's like a one-size-fits-all ban, except maybe like Borland, you know what I mean? Or Seals. Fuck Seals, dude. Winners for Master Duel. Shoutouts to Joshua Schmidt for being the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Content creator to actually win an event this huge. Also, funnily enough, during a feature match, Quantal misclicked where he normaled Rhino Heart and didn't activate the effect and immediately passed turn. And now, on to everyone's debate lord topic, we've got Maxx C. So, Maxx C was in literally every single deck. You could not look at a single invitational team deck that did not have Maxx C in their roster, and Reddit, funnily enough, literally Redditors ran the stats, and every single time Maxx C was resolved, in general, it gave that player a 20 to 21% win rate boost, which is disgusting. I don't think I need to explain why when you activate a card, you get to just roll a d5, and if it comes up 5, you win automatically. Oh my god, what is this card? Here's a bunch of stats. If you want a more detailed look at it all, as well as the original Reddit post, I'm going to link the original thread in the description. Let's talk about the good stuff that happened. This is just a bunch of good miscellaneous stuff that I wanted to cover. And one was finals was pretty hype. Like, finals was poggers, and I was really happy that finals at least had a pretty good venue and layout. Like, this looks pretty hype. Additionally, Jessica Robinson became the first woman, I believe ever, to attend World for Yu-Gi-Oh! As a competitor, and she even made top 8, which is kind of fucked up that they only gave pricing to top 4, but they allowed top 8 to make it. So let's talk about the bad. So number one, most obviously, was the day one Backrooms venue. It was absolute shit, dude. In my opinion, as a viewer, like seeing these literally like empty rooms that looked like it came out of like a dilapidated office building, it really just sucked the energy out of like watching this and thinking this is literally the world championship. Funnily enough, even some of the competitors didn't like it. With Jessica Robinson with this tweet, even Gage got in on the action. Like, for comparison, here's what League of Legends Worlds looked like throughout the years. By the way, this was like 12, 13 years ago. But yeah, it really did just suck the energy out of all of it and really just made watching World really depressing. And I just could not get invested in knowing that they were playing in the equivalent of like my 3rd grade bedroom. Second, this is me being nitpicky and biased, but I don't like NA commentary. I dislike NA commentary so heavily. It puts me to sleep. They just sound so uninvested. They just sound so tired. Can we bring back like YouTubers or get like Ludwig to like commentate one of these? That'd be so much better. Instead of, looks like he is summoning a labyrinth monster. And then it's just like 10 seconds of dead air. Like, bro, I'm sorry, but like EU commentary is infinitely better relative to like the North American one. Get me in there. I've commentated League of Legends before. Also, the bad is the pricing. And this is more just me bitching about like an overall general issue with Yu-Gi-Oh! It really does kind of show that the only way to make any sense of living or to even truly like make a living off of like playing a game that you love just doesn't exist, especially for a franchise as big as Yu-Gi-Oh! And outside of like, you know, getting playmats, getting sleeves, that like stuff that isn't even really worth that much in the grand scheme of things. Like maybe theoretically they're like worth $1,000 or $2,000 combined. The only real value came out of, you know, the world's prize cards, which is valued at about 20 to 30,000 for the top cut dinosaur and 70k for the magician. And I'm sure no team sold theirs in order for us to receive that evaluation. I am 100% sure that no team in both Master Duel or TCG sold their prize cards frame one. We should also keep in mind is that League of Legends 11 years ago had a $2 million prize pool for just Worlds alone. Konami doesn't care about selling the prize card, by the way. All the reps are standing next to the vendors buying them. It makes sense that Konami wouldn't care, but I guess the general premise or issue that I take with it is that stuff like Magic the Gathering will just straight up give you money as well as a prize card. Like if you win Magic the Gathering Worlds, they will literally make a card, like a custom card with you, and like you can design it with them, and it's like super hype, and they'll give you like a prize card and they'll give you winnings. But like in Yu-Gi-Oh, the only winnings that you could get is literally just juicing your memorabilia, which I think is like a little fucked up. Like even in Magic the Gathering, if you win Worlds, you will just get a flat $100,000 and they'll like give you a tap and be like, all right, get your memorabilia on the way out. Like this is obviously just like a legacy of like Kazuki Takahashi, and obviously we can't change it now for very obvious reasons. But even if he was still alive, like I'm very sure that he is still extremely adamant about, I never want like cash to be a part of this game in any capacity. And like unfortunately that's just like one of the things that just like drags Yu-Gi-Oh down in terms of not only player support, but also in terms of people even taking it seriously as an esports. Like I've talked to many like tier 1 and tier 2 organizations, and one of the big reasons why like esport orgs don't even want to touch Yu-Gi-Oh is because it's so fucking tiny, but also it's just like there's literally no money in it. It's so hard to convince like Cloud9, TSM, NRG to be like, hey, come on, give like Yu-Gi-Oh a chance. They're just gonna be like, okay, but where's the return on investment? At least with NFTs, you could pretend that they were worth money. At least the monkey was really cool. Ideally, it could change, but unfortunately, just in reality, it probably won't. Additionally, another thing I want to talk about was Worlds format just in general. If you guys don't know, Worlds format is a special ban list where they combine both the TCG and OCG ban lists, and you can only use the lowest common denominator of cards that are legal. So for example, if Maxx C is at 3 in the OCG and TCG is at 0, for Worlds, Maxx C is going to be at 0. And overall, having to memorize 2 ban lists for the average and even like most intermediate players is just too much. It's just annoying to have to know like some combination of like OCG and TCG and just learn a new ban list that's like double the length. For most casual viewers, like some people will be like, oh, why aren't they playing this deck? Oh, it's because like this card is actually banned. Oh, why aren't they playing this card? Oh, because it's at 1. And it made like the viewing experience kind of like a headache in my opinion. And it was just like very convoluted and such like a very demanding process for new viewers to watch Worlds and, you know, just not get your head like running in circles. So I want to talk to someone who actually went to Worlds, someone who was flown out. We're going to talk to my homeboy, Spanish VFD. aka Korean. Anyways, give yourself a little brief introduction to chat for those of you who may not be aware of who you are.
I'm a yugioh, also called Korean Online, I guess. I was competitive representing the EU from this year. I did not top this year's Worlds, but I attended there in Japan, Tokyo.
So what are your general thoughts on the event? Just as a competitor versus maybe like previous years, like, you know, as a viewer or, you know, just like a casual fan of Worlds overall, I guess.
As a spectator of like previous Worlds, there's really that much you actually see, since all they stream is just Swiss of day one, and then like the day two ceremony, and then the finals, which isn't that much if you compared to like what you get to see as a competitor, right? As a competitor, you get to talk to all the Konami reps, you get to do like tours and stuff, and you get to see all the stuff backstage. It feels very surreal from like, usually as a normal Yu-Gi-Oh player, Konami reps are like something, like people you like never talk to, right? Like they're just like the really important people behind the Konami that are like responsible for all the important stuff. But then at Worlds, you just talk to them casually.
So what are your thoughts on the Backrooms? how was that experience?
Didn't really pay attention to where we went, but it seemed like a regular office building, more or less.
Oh my god, they literally rented an office. Were the playmats actually like paper? Or did it just like look like
yeah, it was paper like the it was like construction deck playmats.
Oh,
The deluxe playmats, you know?
is there anything that like you specifically like liked or disliked about Worlds?
The food at the welcome dinner was kind of terrible, not gonna lie.
Where did they take you? Did they take you to, like a KFC?
We were like at an hotel. We were in some big hall, and then they had a buffet for everyone. But the food was kind of bad, not gonna lie.
Thank you, Korean. Much love. Thank you for coming on and talking
No
about
problem.
the YCS Backrooms. Love you lots. That is everything. Special thanks to Korean and Quantal for proofreading all this and looking over all my shit to make sure I got everything right. Quantal, of course, being the teammate of Joshua Schmidt and all that sort of stuff. The world's winner, by the way, who we would have brought him on, but he was busy. I think he's busy, like, literally flying over to, like, the Maldives so he could commit, like, tax evasion. Otherwise, let me know what you guys thought of Worlds. Let me know what you guys thought of all of it. And, yeah, that's gonna be it.